longer than I've been alive, for as long as most of us have been alive, if somebody asked you, what is the leading cause of accidental injury death in the United States? Everybody knows the answers. It's car crashes, motor vehicle accidents. As far back as the Whiskers database goes, 1981, it's been the leading cause of death. That's changed. It's no longer true. What kills more people now than car crashes? Drug overdose. Drug overdose. And the types of drugs and the people who are dying from those drugs has changed dramatically as well. The leading cause of overdose death is prescription drugs, and prescription opioid drugs in particular. There are about 16 to 17,000 people that died last year from overdoses of prescription opioid drugs, more than heroin and cocaine combined. Most of the people who died had a prescription in the last year for the drug that killed them. These drugs are preventable. There is an antidote to opioid overdose. There is a cheap, effective drug that reverses opioid overdose. If more people had access to that drug, a lot of these deaths could be prevented. The problem is that the drug is often not available when and where it's needed to save lives. The antidote is this drug called naloxone. The brand name is Narcan. It's a prescription drug. It's not a controlled substance. It can't be abused. It does nothing except knock the opioid out of the opioid receptor and reverse the overdose. Unfortunately, laws that were designed for other purposes make it difficult for people to access that drug. There is a lot of evidence that shows that prescribers are wary of prescribing it because they're worried about civil liability. Drugs are scary. Illicit drug use, problematic drug use is scary. Doctors are wary of getting involved in that field, so they don't prescribe Narcan. And even though the drug is carried by ambulance crews, every paramedic carries Narcan, people are afraid of calling 911 when they're witnessing an overdose because they're worried that the paramedics are going to come and the cops are going to come and they're going to arrest everybody. And this happens. There's lots of evidence that this happens. So both of those problems can be quickly and easily addressed by minor changes to the law. Sort of tort reforms, minor tweaks to the civil liability law that tell physicians, do what you know is best medical practice, prescribe this drug, get it into the hands of people who can use it without the fear of civil liability, as long as you're not acting, recklessly or in a willful, wanton manner. And again, targeted criminal immunity for people who summon first responders, who call 911 in good faith in the event of an opioid overdose to get the paramedics who have the drug to the person whose life can be saved with it being administered. This is a big impact change. You can make huge, huge impacts. This drug is it's easy to administer. There's lots of evidence that it can be administered by lay people with very little to no training. There's a nasal application. You can just spray it up somebody's nose, reverses the overdose, saves lives. It is feasible. In the last 2 years, there have been 8 or 9 states that have passed some version of these laws. It's really gaining steam. A lot of the sort of usual suspects who you might think might come out in opposition to these types of laws just because of the drugs are scary aspect, don't come out. These laws are supported by major medical associations. In many states, they actually have support of law enforcement. Law enforcement are first-line responders. A lot of times, they are the people who are witnessing these overdoses. They realize that something needs to be done. Think that these laws are good ideas.